Right, so you've come over from my last video on how one simple shift boosted my YouTube success. Well, this is part 2 and this is where I show you what that shift was. And if you found this video some other way and you haven't watched part 1, then use the link in the description below or here somewhere to watch that video first and then come back to this one. You'll be glad you did. Right, so now you've seen video 1 and now you're watching this one. Do you notice any difference already? As I said in that last one, making a difference, making one change from one video to the next is what drives your growth. And from all the changes I've made, from deciding on thumbnails and titles first, to promoting videos one after the other, to sometimes having music in the background and sometimes not, to improving the hook in the first 5 seconds, the first 30 seconds, putting in good B-roll, some overlays, etc, etc, by far the biggest change I made did the following for me. My ability to produce content, the amount of time I spent doing the marketing of my videos. It bettered my script, it bettered my output, and the quality of my videos went through the roof. This single thing allowed me to boost my video quality dramatically. It got me to be more consistent, and now I'm on a growth trajectory and helping other YouTubers at the same time. Yes, you've guessed it by now, I'm sure. It was the outsourcing of the editing of my videos. Editing my own videos up until that point was doing one really good thing and 2 really harmful things to my YouTube channel. The really good thing that was coming from editing my own videos was that I was learning. I was spending hours learning video editing, and with each attempt, each new video, I was getting better, picking up something new. I used powerful desktop video editing software, initially starting with DaVinci Resolve and then moving on to others. I even used next-gen AI-powered tools, and I was clearly improving. You can go back and watch my earlier videos and see how I was improving from one video to the next. I know that I was improving because things that used to take me ages before to figure out and then implement were taking me less and less time, but it was still taking hours. From figuring out what all the different icons in the video editing software meant, to the difference between a J cut and an L cut, to watching YouTube video tutorials on how to do a specific editing thing that I wanted to do. But the problem was it was still taking hours, and learning how to become a good video editor wasn't the reason I started this YouTube channel. I wanted to make videos on my topic, not become a professional video editor. And this was one of the 2 majorly poor things that were happening as I edited my own videos. So 1, I was spending too much time editing, as I just said. It was taking me almost 4 times as much time to do the editing as it was taking me to do the scripting, the videoing, the thumbnail and packaging, the everything else. I had calculated that it was taking me anything from 8 to 12 hours to do the video editing for one video, depending on the length of the video, of course. This was harming the production of my videos, this was harming the consistency at which I put videos out there, and on top of that, it was harming my family life and even my sleep. And this led to the second most harmful thing that editing my own videos was doing. It was actually making me slowly fall out of love with YouTube and making videos for my channel. And that number 2 is critical to avoid if any creator wants to do this long term. I wanted to make videos, share my knowledge, help people who I could reach, and make money doing this. That's the dream, isn't it? Doing what you love, helping people, and making money all at the same time. You can't begin a journey hating a big part of what you're doing, what you need to do, and that too so soon into the journey. YouTube isn't a short-term thing, it's a long-term game. But I needed to spend time coming up with ideas, scripting them, videoing them, improving on all that stuff. And now I was beginning to procrastinate even doing the script, because that meant that I didn't have a script ready to video. And that meant I didn't have anything to start editing. To avoid editing, I wasn't doing the videoing and I wasn't even starting the script. So editing, video editing had to be outsourced. And quickly. But if you've outsourced anything ever in your life, you know that outsourcing never really happens quickly, does it? It's a long process of trial and error, unless you've also outsourced the hiring of the person you're trying to hire. I guess that could work. Since that decision, I've searched for and hired over 15 different video editors over many months, and it was painful. I had to draft out a job advert, search out the profiles of what looked like good editors, invite them to apply, filter out spammy applications from people who hadn't even read the job description properly, message positive prospects, communicate back and forth with several at once, chase responses from those editors that looked too promising just to ignore at the first sign of them going AWOL, send them a 2-minute clip to do a trial edit for me, and show me their skills. Then I'd review those submissions, even for those who had ignored our agreement to submit a 2-minute clip and then somehow decided just to submit a 1-minute one, deal with language barriers, and then finally hold a video call with the few that I wanted to proceed with. Those video calls then led to 1 or 2 good options who I chose to hire, at which point some of them decided to renegotiate. And this broke down the whole relationship right from the outset. So I closed that job posting and started again. So it was back to drafting a job advert, search out the profiles of those who look like good editors, invite them to apply, filter out spammy applications, message positive prospects, communicate back and forth with several at once, chase responses from those good ones that look too promising to ignore at the first sign of going AWOL, deal with language barriers, and then again hold video calls with the few I wanted to proceed with, and eventually hire 1 or more so I could do a trial with all of them at the same time. Right, now I had a video editor, and the first thing I had to do was figure out a good way of sending them my raw footage. Large file transfer sites were used, Dropbox, Google Drive, and others. There was a lot of trial and error. Then that video editor sends me their first edit for feedback, and like you'd expect, they'd send me the file back via the same method that I'd used to send to them in the first place. So I'd download that file and begin my review. I had to view the video and then have a separate document open where I was writing down my feedback points, and also noting down the time in the video that my feedback was for. For example, if I didn't like the B-roll at 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the video, then I'd write down 2.30 for 2 minutes 30 seconds, and I don't like the B-roll at this point, please change it. Then that full document with feedback would be sent back to the video editor for revisions. Then inevitably something else would go wrong in this process. Something would go wrong in the communication, or I'd realize that that video editor had severely overstated their skills, or the communication between us just wasn't working, or the timing was off. They just couldn't provide revisions back in time for me to post to my schedule, or they were good for the first 1, 2, or 3 videos and then something went wrong. In each case, I had to let go of that video editor and then restart the search process all over again. At that point is where I decided I'm going to have to pay more, because all this trial and error back and forth was really harming my channel and my productivity. And it was also costing me in the future revenue of my channel that I fully expected to achieve. I realized my low budget was causing me this pain, and I wasn't getting anywhere. So I upped my budget a little bit. But even then I found I was restarting the process of searching again. You know, the whole drafting a job advert, search out the profiles of those who look like good editors, invite them to apply, filter out spammy applications, message positive prospects, communicate back and forth with several at once, chase responses from those good ones that look too promising to ignore at the first sign of going AWOL, deal with language barriers, and then again hold video calls with the few I wanted to proceed with, and eventually hiring again. After many times of this back and forth, it happened. I found a team, a professional, hungry, growing video editing team with the professionalism on timing, with the skills, with the intelligent self-thinking I needed them to have, with great communication and expectation management, with tools that meant I could feedback and review with ease and not have to upload and download feedback documents all the time. And it has been since then that I've found consistency in my videos, not just in terms of how many I produce, but in terms of how they're produced. This video editing team just gets it. They make changes to the style I want when I want it. They understand my feedback. They just get it. My consistency has improved. My production value has improved. The number of videos I produce is now on point to where it should be, and it's only going to grow from here. I'm spending my time effectively doing what I started this channel for: scripting, thumbnails, title drafting, videoing, and then just simply sending the raw footage to them unedited. Alongside the raw footage, I provide them with a script document that guides them on the style I want for that video. And again, they just do it. I get a rough cut within days, and the revisions are just quick and easy. I have never needed more than 5 revisions so far, and usually it's only 2 or 3. So I thought this team is too good and I can't just keep them to myself. I need to partner with them for all UK creator projects. The UK is what I know, so I can manage this for aspiring creators as well as more established ones. Some of you may be wondering how the cost is worked out. Well, the cost is worked out at a fixed price for up to 12 minutes of video. And if your video is longer, then there will be a per minute charge after that. But this is only for regular customers, not one-timers. That's important to know. If you want to get from something like my first video to something like this one, then I'll leave a link to a form in the description below, and maybe even somewhere up here. And then we'll take it from there. And if you want to see that first video again, then click over here, and then come back and see this one to see again for yourself what the difference looks like.